Hello, everybody. This is Mike Van Meter, and welcome to the Recovery is Possible podcast. And I want to thank you for joining me. You can reach us at our Facebook site, which is called Recovery is Possible, or our website, which is VanMeterWellnessSolutions.com. And the reason we're here is to educate the public about addiction, to remove the stigma with addiction, and to offer help and support to those suffering. So today I'm going to be talking about a question that I get asked quite a bit, actually, and that is, what happens when you run into somebody at a 12-step meeting that you know? This came up with a friend of mine. This happened recently to this person, and I got to tell you that, I think when you're deep into recovery, when you've been around for a little while, you kind of forget about this. You forget about this aspect of recovery, and that's the shame and the stigma and the embarrassment that goes along with being in early recovery. And as I mentioned in the prelude to this episode, and really every episode that we do, that's something that we want to talk about and help you reduce the stigma. Now, in previous podcasts, I've talked quite a bit about the fact that addiction is a disease. So if you're new to recovery, if I ask you, if you're one of the people that I'm working with, because it's a very common question that I ask people that I'm working with is, do you really believe that addiction is a disease as opposed to being a moral issue or some sort of moral failing? What I always hear from people is, yeah, that's what I believe. But I think the true test of that is when you go to a meeting for the first time, or when you're early on, I should say, you go to a meeting and you see somebody that you know. When you meet that person for the first time in a meeting that you know outside of the meeting, that's the true test of whether you truly believe that this is a disease. Because if you were going to a cancer survivor meetings, a diabetics anonymous meeting, or some other meeting, if you were missing a limb and you went to a meeting or a survivor's meeting of some sort, you wouldn't feel embarrassed at all, would you? No, not at all. But for some reason, when we go to a 12-step meeting for drugs or alcohol, we are very embarrassed about it. And I understand that, and I get that. And truth be told, that's exactly the way that I was early on, because I didn't completely understand this as well. But, here is how I look at it. And before I give you sort of my opinion on this, I'm going to tell you a story that happened to me. And this is when the full realization of my opinion on this matter was formed. So it was probably about a year or two into recovery, probably closer to a year recovery. It was pretty early on. I ended up going to a meeting. It was during the week. I think it might have actually been Veterans Day. It was during a time that it was, during the week, during the work, typically the work day, in the middle of the day, and I went to a meeting that I didn't go to before. In fact, I don't think I've ever been back to this particular meeting. It was just kind of a one-off that I went to. It was in a church, and it was a lot of people that were there. And I remember sitting around this big table, and I looked across the table, and I see a woman that immediately I recognized. It was somebody that I worked with. Not somebody close at work, but it was, I didn't have a friendship or even a working relationship with this person, but I knew them, and I made eye contact, and I was kind of hoping the person hadn't seen me. And then as the meeting went on, I realized that the person recognized me as well. And, that typical embarrassment, that typical, oh my gosh, what am I going to do, came about me. And I just thought, what can I do? I figured this was going to happen at some point, but there we are. It happened. And this particular meeting had a halftime, meaning they went for about 30 minutes. You take about a 5-minute break, and then you come back to the meeting. And in the kitchen area, they had donuts, and they had coffee and cookies and things like that. And so I went into the kitchen area, and I'm getting some coffee, and I feel a tap on my shoulder, and I turn around, and it's the woman that I had recognized. And what she said to me was this. She said, Mike, I want to remind you that in this program, we have the spiritual principle of anonymity, meaning we don't talk about who we see at these meetings. And, I hope you understand that. And I sat there for a second, and I looked at the lady, and I thought, how do I deal with this? And then I got a little angry because I thought, how presumptuous. I've never seen you at a meeting before. You've never seen me at a meeting before. You don't know how long I've been in this program. I don't know how long you've been in this program. And you are lecturing me on the spiritual principle of anonymity. And I have to confess, I was a little upset about that, and I was a bit taken back. And what I said to the woman was, and it just completely came off of the top of my head, I said, I'm at this meeting for a reason. It's not like I was on my way to the store, and instead of taking a right turn, I made a left turn and accidentally ended up at this meeting. I came here intentionally because I need to be at this meeting. And unless you're about to tell me that you ended up at this meeting by complete accident, that your car just happened to take you in the wrong direction, and now you're at this meeting and it was completely unplanned, I'm assuming you need to be at this meeting too. And as I thought about it, I said, I'm assuming you think that I'm going to go back to work and tell everybody that I saw you at an AA meeting. And she goes, well, that's what I want to talk to you about, that it would be completely inappropriate for you to do that. And I said, well, couldn't the same be said of you? I mean, why is it that you're worried about what I'm going to say about you? Don't you think I should be worried about you, what you're going to say about me? And also, if we played this out, let's say that I did go to work and I told everybody that I saw you at this meeting. Wouldn't it mean that I was at an AA meeting? And don't you think that the people would be asking me, what was I doing at an AA meeting? I mean, this doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And she thought about it and she kind of smiled and she goes, yeah, I guess that's right. I said, so it looks like you and I are both in the place that we need to be. Wouldn't you agree with that? And she agreed with it. And then after the meeting was over, we left. And as far as I know, she never said anything about me, and I never said anything about her, of course. But really what it comes down to, folks, is this. You have to get it straight in your mind. Are you an alcoholic? Are you an addict? Or whatever other 12-step group that you're in, if you choose to be part of a 12-step group. Do you need to be there? And if you need to be there, that is what's important. That is really what you need to concentrate on, not about who sees you, what are they going to say. It really doesn't matter because, I got news for most people. You're drinking and drugging. If you got to the point to where you had to go to an AA meeting, NA meeting, or any other recovery group meeting, your use was probably not a secret to begin with. And the fact is, most people in your life, if they found out that you were going to a recovery group meeting, would probably be very happy for you. And they were just damn glad that you're going there in the first place. So it's not a big secret, number one. Number two, it is the disease that we say that it is, and it is very serious and it is very deadly. And concentrate on that. And no matter who you are, no matter who you see there, you should be happy that they are there getting well, just as you are there getting well. And if they are in the program and they are serious about the program, they know that if you are there, that is the place that you need to be, and they should be happy that you are working on getting well. That's what recovery is all about. This isn't some gossip session. This isn't a game. This is very serious business, and those of us that are in recovery and take this seriously know that this is a matter of life and death. I would never judge someone for being at a meeting because I'm at that meeting. And if I judge them, then I would be judging myself. And I can tell you that really that feeling of insecurity, that feeling of embarrassment, that feeling that, oh my gosh, what if somebody sees me? What if they know my name? What if they know what I do for a living? That was short-lived. I really passed a year and a half, certainly no more than 2 years. I think I had that feeling maybe up to about two years, but I really don't even think it was that long. I dropped that pretty quick. I really did, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. And the fact is, most people in my life, that people that are close to me, the people that matter to me, already know that I'm in recovery to begin with. And guess what? The people that know me well say that that was the best decision I ever made in my life. And they are very supportive of me going to 12-step meetings and would never discourage me from doing that. So I think the final thought on this is, if you meet somebody at a meeting, don't panic, don't worry. It's not a big deal, folks. And so with that, I hope that you got something out of this. I hope that that has answered any questions that you may have. And if not, ask a question on the Facebook page or reach out to me on the website, Van Meter Wellness Solutions website. But as always, guys, this is just my opinion. This is just something I want to share with you based on a question and concern I had gotten from somebody that had this question. And as always, this is our opinion. This is just meant to help you. If you don't agree with what I said here tonight, that's fine. Just take anything that you can use it for yourself, and just discard the rest, folks. But again, give us a like, give me a follow. Please spread this podcast to people that you think that may benefit from this information. And folks, I look forward to seeing you again soon.